shelter and another 2,500 off food.
Mm-hmm.
We're down to 25,000. It just, so I'm gonna make a motion so we can keep moving. I'm gonna make a motion that you should I go line by line or just?
Go ahead, line by line.
Okay, shelter should be 11,500. Fuel should be 5,000. Medical should be 500. Food should be 2,500. Electric and telephone 5,000, and miscellaneous 500. So a total budget of $25,000.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? We can revisit this if
Yep.
Sure.
something in a month from now we
Yeah.
have an epidemic.
Calamity events.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep, I think that's reasonable. I'll call for a motion for 25,000. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes
All right.
3-0.
I want to back up to the other government.
Yes.
Now, we had 850 this year, and I see in 2018 that she didn't have anything listed for CIP, so my thought is that the,
2016 event spent $358.
Change it to 100, sir. Keep the line open.
well, all right, we spent $350 last year in that line, so I'm saying we ought to have something in the line.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and I was looking at what was
Sure.
in this year's line, so let's, so I would suggest we put 350 in,
I have no problem.
which makes that $500.
$600.
$600.
250 and 350, right?
Yep.
Oh, 150 is this
Oh.
year's request, so,
Safety will be 250.
Oh, okay.
Capital improvement will be
Sorry.
350.
Yeah.
okay.
150, right?
That's $600.
She's
correct?
requested 150 for safety,
Yeah, 500.
so,
We're looking at the 17 budget.
yeah,
Yep.
Okay.
so I'm saying let's go with 500. 350 and 150.
I'll
Yes.
second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. 3-0. Thank you for pointing that. Patriotic purposes, 4583.
So it's been the same for,
Gift to the Legion.
yeah.
Any change, folks?
No,
Good with that.
Is there a motion for,
so move
Second.
$1,500.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next is gifts and donations, 4589.
Not a lot of description.
This has been what, a placeholder for us.
Well, we're
Well-
giving away $75. Who got that?
That was for the,
Oh, somebody died.
yeah,
Yeah,
That's right.
the
So-
sexton,
yeah.
Honeycutt Seafood.
Right.
So it looks like this maybe was a new line in 2015, or there was no
Took the place.
expense until 2015. It was 120, then it was 430. And this year we have 75, so,
I think it was a line that was changed at one point. The
Yeah.
4589 is a fairly
Yeah.
new number, I think.
okay.
Yeah, well, I think they rearranged the budget.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a gift this year, Bill.
I'm sorry,
Maybe we'll get gifts this year.
not out of the town budget.
What is
So, um,
I'm good with it.
I'll move the amount of $500.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Other conservation, 4619.
I will tell you that Milfoil has not put together a budget yet for this year, so
So we don't have a
Table.
recommendation.
yeah, let's table it.
Table it.
I anticipate it will be more next year because we've got to do some herbicide treatment in some of these areas that
Well, what's-
we haven't done for several years.
Yeah, it dropped a couple of years ago.
Yeah, yes, it did.
Yeah, it's back.
Next item is long-term bonds and notes, 4711. This is the ambulance rescue vehicle at Central Fire Station.
Yep.
Principal, correct? Yes.
Principal,
Mhm.
and we don't have a lot of choice here.
Yeah.
We have a debt schedule and that's,
Yes.
this is the
What
payment.
we're
so-
working.
I move 236,554.
I'll make
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Next is the interest on those two bonds, ambulance rescue vehicle and Central Fire Station. It's down a little bit this year, 44,749. Is there a motion? I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's for the budgets that we were given. Any reconsideration on the paperwork we've just gone through?
No, but I'll find out about the legal lines here, especially
Yeah.
the ZBA.
Sure.
And, I mean, I don't see a lot of movement there, but maybe some, might go the wrong one, who knows?
Yeah.
So, no.
You have all of those down?
So
Before,
we're gonna, on Friday, meet and talk about
Transfer station.
and
Library.
library?
Okay, so we'll have all of these budgets plus those to go to the budget committee hearing on Wednesday.
Right.
Excuse me, I won't have the library and the transfer station ready in time. Because they pick up their packets on Fridays,
Right.
and the entry needs to be done and things like that. But we can at least do the other ones that we
Sure.
that you did today.
Okay,
Mhm.
be a work in progress.
Oh, they pick, the budget committee picks up packets? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Uh,
Anything from the selectmen before I move on to the next order of business?
No.
This is for other business? Any hands?
Thankless job.
What's the budget for the legal? I don't think you mentioned that.
The current budget is, or the 2017 budget is $42,800. And there's been nothing spread on the, excuse me, the ZBA line for expenses, so that was the question we had. There was $400 on the line, but planning, for instance, had a $2,000 line, and they spent $525. Conservation's got $400, and they haven't spent any money either.
So legal encompasses all the different attorneys for the different committees.
All the legal, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
There may not be many attorneys, but there's
Right.
different kinds of lawsuits, I guess.
Right.
Legal opinions.
Chip,
Again, you're
I-
gonna, Jesus, again.
I have questions for them too. I sent you an email that was advised that maybe you wouldn't have checked it yet.
I check my email once a week, and I haven't checked it in a week.
So maybe I'll send it to Erin and she can send it.
That's
But
a
it was,
quicker way to get it to me if you wanna get me some. I just don't do that.
I sent you an example mutual aid agreement that my uncle sent me. He's a captain in the Biddeford Fire Department, and I was hoping that it would be useful
I'm
to
sure
look
we'll-
at.
It's, any information, and, God, excuse me. By all means, send it to Karen and we'll all share it, because I think any outside information There was one on an ambulance study that I received that I gave to you guys. That I think is very informative. I don't know how applicable it is to our situation, but we'll certainly find out.
It's certainly, I mean, Biddeford's a city and it's a
Yeah.
regional hub, and
Yeah,
They have
but if it's
different departments,
different,
but-
so,
he said that they review their, or at least look at their agreements every year, just and I think re-sign them, but just so that they're all current. I also wanted to say that I am in favor of the weight scales at the transfer station, just because all around, I think it'll be more fair to everybody involved. As somebody who's, sometimes taken trailer loads of debris, I sometimes feel as if, and this is not to criticize Clay or his guys in any way, but sometimes Clay will say, oh, $15, or somebody else might say, oh, $20, and I feel like it's a little arbitrary because they can't really tell how much stuff I have in the trailer. Again, that's not to criticize them, just to say that if there was actually pegged to the exact weight, then it would,
right.
it would just be better. I have a question about the six-wheel plow truck. I'm confused about this, and please correct me. That's not the truck that we already replaced, is it?
We purchased a new truck, a 10-wheel truck.
Right.
Okay. And this is the what is now the second truck, if you will.
Right.
It's a six-wheeler.
But it's the one that we had before.
Yeah,
Right.
We've had it for,
We've had it since
2002.
2002.
yeah,
Right.
so 15 years.
So I distinctly remember at town meeting 2015 that the reason that we bought a new truck, and I voted for the new truck, I've said to you guys several times, I think the roads are really the most important thing because we all drive on them. So I was in favor of the new truck, but the reason that we got the new truck was that we were told that the old truck was dangerous and that we shouldn't be using it anymore. So I'm surprised to hear that
What I recall as part of the conversation is that there was some mechanical and structural issues with the six-wheel truck that at the time we were going to town meeting was thought that that truck was not going to be, weren't going to be able to keep it on the road. They did make some repairs to it to continue to use it. But at the time that we held town meeting, it seems to me there was a real concern that thing just wasn't going to be, we weren't going to be able to hold it together.
Yeah, that was my memory.
Right.
But we're now going to replace that truck for a second time?
We're gonna propose replacing the six-wheel truck.
Right.
We're not gonna do anything until the legislative body tells us we can do it. I mean, there's an alternative, which is not to replace the truck. I mean, ultimately, you can't put it on the road at some point.
Right.
And then just hire out the plowing. Is that more cost effective than us owning a six-wheel dump? And does the grant money make up the difference, or make that much of a difference that we, should really exercise that prerogative? I mean, those are all just, it's all going forward. I think what the discussion today was, should we apply for the grant? Now, obviously, we can't spend the grant money until we get it, and we certainly can't spend it until the legislative body says we can spend it. So it's just the first step.
So if we get grant money, town meeting still has to approve
Right.
Yeah,
the replacement.
the voters have to approve it.
So at that point in time, we'll be presenting to the voters, okay, this is the situation, these are your alternatives, and this is what we've got for you. And you decide. And we're not, that's what we do, I think.
Okay, well,
I mean, you can revisit at that point in time whether or not we need the extra truck, or
Sure.
historically,
Sure.
you know, you were told that this 10-wheeler was gonna replace the 6-wheeler in 2015, all that can happen.
Mhm.
I mean, and I'm certainly not in favor of creating a highway department, so, I mean, we're gonna look at this.
Well, and I'm also in favor of using equipment for as long as possible,
Right.
because I think that there are cost savings there, but not if we've replaced it. You know
Yeah,
what
it's
I mean?
15 years old.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you certainly can take a look at it, it needs replacing.
I'm just imagining a lot of people are gonna be surprised. I'm surprised that we've already replaced the truck and now we're maybe gonna be asked to replace it again. But again, as I've said, the roads are really important, so.
Well, and put into that, I mean, I don't think we'd be talking about replacing that truck in this year's budget if it weren't for this grant. I mean, maybe we'd be talking about it, but I doubt it.
I mean, I thought the truck had been gotten rid of already, you know,
No.
so.
On that, I thought that we as a town meeting authorized 150,000 for the new 10-wheeler, and we had to go up to 175. So if you are going for another truck, and you will know before you do the warrant or put before town meeting whether or not we have the grant, and will you know how much for certain the new truck costs?
I certainly hope
Yes,
so.
and you may remember from that town meeting that the $150,000 was a floor action.
Right.
As a guesstimate
Right?
as to what it was gonna cost to replace the truck. Because the original article on that warrant was to create a capital reserve fund to
Right.
start putting money
Right.
aside for replacement. And then between the end of the CIP cycle and when we went to town meeting, you know, the wheels started to come off, if
Right.
you will, of the existing
Truck had major
operation.
problems, right?
So I think with respect to equipment and how much equipment is the right equipment, right amount to have, and what went on when the new truck was bought and what's gone on since then, I do know that the 6-wheeler has continued to be productive. It has some issues. The road agent has told us that there are places that he can use the 6-wheeler effectively that the 10-wheeler cannot get into because it's tight. That if he didn't have the 6-wheeler to work those areas, and he working with smaller trucks out of his fleet, like 1-tons, then snow removal is less efficient. Takes you longer, more man hours, yada, yada, yada. So I think those are all things that can be quantified and should be looked at, absolutely. I do recall the discussion at town meeting about, yeah, you know, we gotta replace this thing and let's put 150,000 into it,
Yeah.
and go forward. But subsequent to that, they were able to make repairs to the truck sufficient to keep it safe and operating. It does have some quirks and issues that continue to be somewhat problematic. But as it exists today, that 6-wheeler is still a productive part of the fleet in clearing the roads. And if we get a grant approved and we go to town meeting and town meeting decides that doesn't make sense, then we go forward operating the way that we have been. But I think the current reality is, if you look at and I don't have the number in front of me, what that truck does, it does still plow snow. Several hundred hours a year it's used for road maintenance and snow removal. And if it goes away, what do you replace it with? Because you're not parking the 10-wheeler when you're using the 6-wheeler. It's not an either or.
I'm not necessarily opposed to having two trucks. I'm just saying, when you say that you're replacing a truck and now they'll
That we
have
thought
two
was
trucks.
replaced,
Right.
yeah.
Well,
It's a different-
and again, that was a floor discussion at town meeting,
Yeah.
okay? My recollection is what the warrant had on it was creating a capital reserve fund
Right.
there, and there was discussion there about, this thing needs to be replaced and we need a new truck, and somebody made a motion to increase the amount of money and went
Right.
forward from there.
And I think everybody thought that it had been replaced, but let's not belabor the point. I do have another
Yeah.
few more questions. The assessor, does he like have other assessors working for him as
Yes.
well? He does? Okay.
He
Somebody came by my house a few weeks
Yeah,
ago and
my
said he
house.
was the assessor and it was not that man, so.
Yeah, he has,
Yeah.
he has a company, and he has
Okay.
people working for him, right?
Alright, so. He didn't come in my house, but he asked me a lot of questions about my house, so just wanted to make sure. I have an idea about the budgets. Chip said, he wanted more public input, and there isn't always so much public input. I wanted to suggest that since you're running Drupal on the website, which is a blogging platform, you can publish blog posts with the budgets and allow comments, and people could then comment on the website if they're not able to come to your meetings, because it's not always convenient for people to come to the meetings, but they could maybe make a comment online, and we'll probably recognize their name and know that they live in town. And the budget committee could do that as well, and that would be a way to get some comments from the public, which, to be effective, you would need to actually read and maybe discuss a little bit, and maybe even, if it's a good idea, take it into account during a meeting. That's a way to get more public involvement. It is a little bit social media-y, which I know Chip doesn't like in any form, but
I'm a Luddite. Back to your transfer station question.
about the scales.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in favor of the scales as well, but it is a fine line, not easily walked, to keep the transfer station from becoming a profit center.
Right.
The notion of weighing people's trash, I just see it ending up on my land instead of going to the transfer station. I have been an advocate of every property owner getting a dump sticker with their tax bill for years. I don't think you should have to pay, you've already paid taxes to go, or operating the transfer station.
Uh-huh.
That said, I think Clay does a wonderful job of turning revenue in, making the thing efficient, which is great, but there's a line that you don't want to cross wherein it becomes too expensive for the average citizen to go to the dump. If the contractor has to pay $100 a ton to Waste Management and we charge him $100 a ton, it's one or the other. Currently, the problem is that we're charging $10 a ton and Waste Management's charging $100.
Yeah, if you could just peg it to the prevailing local rate.
Yeah. I mean, I don't
Well,
want
and
to see a bunch of
keep in mind with
contractors-
respect to the scales, the whole thrust here is for the C and D that everybody pays to get rid of their C and D, all right? And so because, and the town pays based on weight to have it tipped, okay? So when the employees collect from me as I bring stuff, C and D up there to throw it out, they're estimating the weight based upon rough criteria. And if the estimate is off, and it may be because you're not looking at everything that's in the load, then I may be paying more than what that waste actually costs to get rid of, or I may be paying less. And so if we pay to have it pulled based on weight and we collect based on weight, then that's a fair way of assessing that cost to the guy that brings it in. When it comes to household trash, you have a different issue. And taking
Yeah, I agree.
things out of the solid waste stream and diverting them someplace else, i.e. the recyclables, drives down that solid waste disposal cost. So when Clay talks about that, and I've been up there at times where you can, somebody tosses stuff in the compactor and you can hear clink, 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 all of the glass in there, which is something that we dispose of in a separate stream at a much lower cost than as part of the solid waste stream. But coming back to what you say, obviously we don't want the transfer station and the costs and other the tangible and intangible costs of the transfer station to cause people to just toss their stuff out in the ditch going down the road, because we've created a situation at the transfer station that the cost is too high. And then as a community, we have an issue to deal with beyond that. So all of what's driving at this point the scales issue is getting collection of money from people bringing C&D in line with the cost that we as a town bear for getting rid of it, so that what we collect from a contractor or from a homeowner that's bringing their C&D in is related to what the actual disposal cost is.
Yeah, and I'm in favor of that.
Anything else? I saw another hand. Go ahead.
Yes.
Thank you for waiting.
I just wanted to say that Tufton Borough was well represented at the budget workshop last week, and I'm looking forward to working with a group of very informed people in regards to budget law. So we'll start next week.
Yep.
Go ahead.
I just have a couple follow-up things.
Go ahead.
You had mentioned before Bill got here about having a workshop date for the Union Wharf reconstruction. And I just didn't know if you wanted to lock that date now. The questions that Jack had, he wanted to sit down and go over and get the selectmen's input on how you want that project done. And it was suggested to have a workshop, so.
Can we let Jack give us a little follow-up information? He's going to do some more research.
Oh, okay. Okay, I misunderstood that.
The idea is to sort of focus on that and
Right.
And then the proposal from, HEB asking if you'd like a proposal done for the repair of the Sodom Road Bridge. Do you have a thought on that? He just asked me again today, so if you want them to do a proposal or not for a repair.
My opinion is we ought to get a proposal on repairing that bridge. It's a piece of information that I think we need to have on the table. Regardless of whether it's something that we then choose to bring to the legislative body for approval, or
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, sounds
yeah.
good. Thank you.
all right. Do you have anything else? Excuse me, public, anything else?
I'll send you an email.
I'm gonna move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Time to go pound nails, right, sir?
Jesus, really?
Have a good one.
We could start the meetings at 7 a.m.